In all of UFC history, a number of guys have been able to have the honor of being regarded as the biggest heel. Chael Sonnen, Colby Covington, even Conor McGregor at some point. But in all of recent history, I've yet to find a UFC fighter who has been able to stir the pot and make as many great fighters lose their cool like Dricus Du Plessis is doing. Dricus is the number one contender at middleweight. He's said to be facing the champion, Sean Strickland, at UFC 297. And everyone predicted the buildup of this fight to be a snooze fest. There was no beef, no animosity. The real beef was Israel Adesanya for both of them. The rematch with Strickland or the fight with Dricus and Adesanya, they all had more heat than Strickland versus Dricus. And the UFC knew this, and that's why they organized the big seasonal press conference, because all of the fights they announced for the beginning of the year, they all lacked that little bit of that little big fight feeling. So they organized the big press conference, and it all went down from there. What was predicted to be the most boring fights of those three became, in the span of 5 minutes, the most anticipated. And that's thanks to Dricus, because he's the one who made it relevant, who made this fight relevant. Sean was always going to be trolling, was always going to be dishing out to everybody on the stage, but Dricus, with his comments about Strickland's dad, talking about, oh, you think you've been abused? I will show you real abuse. This is perfect for him, for Dricus. I'm not saying he was right or wrong, but if you want to make headlines, you do this. And the shocking part was to see how it affected Sean. We have never seen Sean lose his cool like that. We never expected him to be disaffected by Dricus' comments. I thought he was just gonna laugh it out and be like, oh yeah, for sure. But nah, he got up and started throwing shit, and not throwing, but he got very agitated. And Dricus was just having the time of his life, laughing like a little kid who just stole his brother's candy. And of course, with Sean Strickland being one of the most fan favorite fighters in the UFC right now, he's one of my favorite fighters. Just look at my profile pictures. Of course, it was gonna create a big debate. Was Sean wrong? Was Dricus wrong? Because Sean is known for his outlandish comments about other people. No, further than last week, he was talking about Ian Gary and his wife. And before that, he was talking about this girl who died. And before that, he was talking about the guy who got hit by a bus. Sean has always been the guy to make a joke of everything. So why is he that triggered by Dricus making a joke about him? And I'm not saying he was right or wrong. I'm just saying people have mixed feelings about this. Dricus really seemed to have triggered the entire community once again. And that's what I want to talk about. Dricus and Ariel Helwani might be the biggest instigators in the entire scene. But whereas Ariel is just burning bridges with people, Dricus is actually making it work. He got himself in his position that he is today because of this. Whereas, just last year, you didn't know who Dricus was, even though he was in the rankings and everything. It's with his talking. He kept talking and stirring the pot with Usman, Adesanya, and all those guys. And now he was put in a position where he was able to fight for the title in less than a year of relevancy. And of course, his fighting has to do with it too. He beat Derek Brunson when he was number 5, I think, and then beat Robert Whittaker. This absolutely guarantees you a title shot. It guarantees you a title shot. You can't beat Robert Whittaker and not get it. But he was in his position. He was put in this position because he got himself into a place where he was relevant enough to face Robert Whittaker. And when I call Dricus an instigator, it's not to his detriment. I'm not saying he's bad for doing it, but Dricus is always saying just the right thing or doing the right thing to piss people off. Just at the press conference last year where he claimed that he was going to be the first African champion, he never talked about race. He never said that Izzy and Ngannou and all those guys aren't Africans. He's saying, oh, but I live, train, breathe African hair. He's saying that little thing that he knows people could misinterpret, and he's just running with it. And at the press conference last week, Sean just joked about him gaying around with his coaches a little bit, and Dricus automatically went to, it was a fluke, you're overrated, you a bitch, you're not good, you're not championship material. He went off on Sean Strickland just because he said that he was gaying around with his coaches a little bit too much to his liking. And in the crowd at the fight too, Dricus was the one making signs to look at me, come here if you're a man, come here, look at me, and Sean just jumped over the fence, but not a fence, but the chairs, and that's on Dana White's too. He knew what he was doing. He wanted this to happen to promote the fight, and now the fight is bigger than ever. Sean is out here on T01 talking about it. Every podcast is talking about it. So what was supposed to happen happened. But still, Dricus is the one who triggered it. Like, Dricus is the one who instigated it. Same with Adesanya. He kept talking about the African stuff, you know. Same with Usman. He got Usman when Usman was the champion. Usman was talking about Dricus at the press conference when Dricus wasn't even a contender yet. But he got Usman talking about him. This guy is a genius of evil, and I'm not even sure he knows it himself. Think of all the big beefs in the MMA of the past year. Dricus is in like 3 of them. The beef with Usman, the beef with Adesanya, and now the beef with Strickland. This guy knows how to make the headline of the week. Every time Dricus' fight is coming up, he's making headlines because of the things he says, because of the things he's doing. Dricus just knows how to stir the pot. And it's not small beefs either. Like, it's always super controversial. He had people talking about colonization and the apartheid and all of this because of his comments. It got super political, and on every podcast people were like, oh, but they started giving history classes because of his beefs and his comments. And now there's big debates about child abuse. I don't know how he keeps getting away with this. I'm telling you, this guy is a super villain, and he got that face, that little smirk. Like I said, this little brother who just stole your candy, or you know when your little brother does something to you and then you do something to him and he just calls the mom and the mom's just yelling at you and he's looking at you with the smile. That's what Dricus reminds me of. Everything he does just rubs people the wrong way. He got your favorite fighters losing their shit on national TV, just like with Izzy in the cage and Sean Strickland on the stage. And if he's not making them lose their shit, then he's beating them up, just like with Darren Till and Robert Whittaker. How can this guy keep getting away with this? He's always testing the limits of what he can say and like walking on eggs a little bit. And that's a talent every fighter would wish they had. And with him, it's just so organic. You see, he's not even trying that hard. He just rubs people the wrong way. You look at Colby Covington. He tries so hard, or he tried because now he's finished, but he tried so hard. And you look at other fighters like Izzy with corny ass lines and all of this, when Dricus is just being himself, saying the wrong thing at the wrong time and making headlines. And contrary to Chael Sonnen, where you knew it was a character, Chael Sonnen was being extra on purpose, saying the most outlandish stuff. Dricus, he does it so innocently. That could be a very good thing for him, because if he wins the belt and establish dominance over the division, his ability to create big drama like this is going to make his pocket a little bit bigger, and his name a bit bigger too, because as a champion, you always want to pick the grudge match. That's the one where the most money is involved. But even if he loses the fight against Strickland and he's not the champion, still he can bounce back with the grudge match against Izzy. And if he beats Izzy, then he's right back in title picture. And that's a position he put himself in because of his words, because of his drama. I gotta say, as a fan, that's so entertaining to see. Because with Dricus, you don't feel like the beef is faked or being like forced. He genuinely pisses people off, and you love to see it. But with the way things were going with Izzy, and now the way things are going with Strickland, it's getting really dark, and I feel like it's gonna go too far one day. And even now with the brawl, it's only a matter of time before some real stuff starts happening. But Dricus is having so much fun with it. He's really like a villain. He doesn't care if people don't like him. Every time some stuff happens around him, he's always laughing out loud. And that could be a proof of self-confidence. Or he could just be enjoying the chaos, like all of us. Either way, it's the 3rd fighter in less than a year that Dricus managed to piss off to a point where he was the biggest headline of the month. So it's either very promising or really problematic. Because look at Colby, I'm bringing him up again, but look at Colby and Masvidal, big grudge match, and it didn't end in the octagon. They had to go take it outside. And a guy like Strickland, you don't know how he's gonna react if he gets beaten by a guy like Dricus. If they don't make up afterwards and don't show each other respect, like I think they probably will. I don't think it's gonna go to a point where they're not gonna shake hands and nothing. I'm just thinking like it's a possibility. What if Strickland just refuses to accept it? He's not the type of guy I want to catch in the streets. But hey, I'm not complaining. That's very entertaining as a fan. But you guys let me know what you think. If you want to debate in the comments, and if you want to let me know if Sean is wrong for doing this or reacting this way, or if Dricus is wrong for saying those things, I'm interested to see everybody's opinion. So you can leave a comment, like, and subscribe. Thank you for watching.